quick comment.
How's everybody? Good. Well, it's good to be in game week. You know, we've got a lot of new faces around here, new players. Trying to teach guys how to prepare for a game, how important now the next step is to what we do of, you know, the mental preparation, the mental practice. You know, I just went into one reel, just making calls and getting guys to understand how to really get ready to play a game. It's not just physical on the field, but it's also mental, quite a bit of mental between now and the game. Can eliminate a lot of errors in the game, help a guy go into the game with more confidence, better understanding of what he's supposed to do, and go play fast and be able to sustain that and play with a lot of discipline for, you know, the entire game. So you know, this week we've gradually improved. I think one of the big things that you get concerned about is getting the team back, getting their players back, getting their legs back, and that's, you know, part of the reason for going inside, try to get out of the heat a little bit so the guys have a better chance to recover, but that's also something that's important from their standpoint, a part of preparation to take care of themselves and do the things they need to recover, whether it's, you know, rest, eat correctly, do the cold tubs after practice or whatever it is. So, you know, we got another day of preparation tomorrow. I'm sure we can use, you know, every bit of it. There's a lot of situations that you try to cover for a first game, whether it's special teams, offense, defense, that we try to do in these last 2 days. So, but still a lot to learn for a lot of these players in these next couple of practices.
Start on the right with Ben.
Jonah Williams comes across as a guy who's very detail-oriented. Can you think of some ways that you might have improved that we might not recognize just layman's eyes?
Well, I think Jonah played really well for us last year. I think he's a very conscientious guy. He's one of those guys that's a perfectionist in terms of he wants to be the best player, and he's one of the guys that's willing to do the things that you have to do to be the best player. And that attention to detail that he has comes from pride in performance, and he's really a perfectionist. So I don't know if there's any specific thing, but I know he's a hard worker. He works hard every day, tries to get better at his technique, and he's a very bright guy, so he has a very good understanding of what we expect him to do.
Right in the middle, Michael.
How much progress have you seen from this secondary from the beginning of camp to now?
Well, I think a lot of progress has been made. I think you know, we got a lot of new faces. Guys have to learn how to play together, which they made improvement in. Communication is something that we've improved dramatically. So, you know, I don't think that we'll know exactly how they're able to perform until they go out there and make the adjustments that they need to make, and see if we can make the plays that we need to make. But I've been, you know, not satisfied with the progress, but certainly pleased with the improvement that we've been able to make.
Back on the right with Charlie.
I know back in the spring it was just for emergency purposes, but how much do you think that practicing at corner can benefit a guy like Devontae Smith and maybe take his game to the next level?
Well, we hadn't done it all fall camp. You know, we did it for emergency purposes, just so that he had enough knowledge and experience that if we got in trouble with that position, he could go over there and play it. We've done it in the past with, you know, some other guys here, and I think understanding coverages, understanding how people play, it probably can help you at his position at receiver as well. So he did a really good job of it, and I think that if we needed him in a pinch, we could get him ready to play, and he could actually be pretty effective doing it.
Back with Cecil.
Coach, we really haven't asked since the second scrimmage. How has the communication been? You have two new coordinators from upstairs, sideline, and could you go over, I'm sure you've done it, but Mike will be upstairs and Dan downstairs on the field. Is that the plan offensively?
That's the way, but I allow the coordinators and give them an opportunity to do it the way they think is most effective for them. Mike's been a coordinator a lot. He's been in the press box. We've got other good coaches who have experience on the field, so I'm fine with that. You know, Tasha's going to be on the field, and Pete will be in the press box. So, you know, I think it's just as important to get good information during the game and have people that get good information. So, you know, there's good and bad in both. I always wanted to be in the press box. I probably told you this story before. When I was a coordinator, And then when I worked for Belichick in Cleveland, he said, you know, you put all the stuff in, you're with the players, you talk to them all the time, you got to be on the sidelines and make, you know, adjustments during the game. You're the only guy that can, you know, communicate with every group. So it was a lot harder in the beginning because you couldn't sit around and look at your sheet of paper and figure out what you wanted to call. You had to know what you wanted to call in every situation in the game. And I think that takes a little getting used to and a little experience. But in the 2 scrimmages that we have not had issues in communication at all.
2 more, Coach Alex, and then Ryan.
Where has Saban kind of made the most progress, you know, since he's been here, and what do you think about putting him out? I mean, obviously, as a quarterback, a lot of times they're out on an island. What do you think how do you think he'll respond?
Well, you know, I'm happy with the progress that he's made here. He's a hard worker. He's physical. He's fast. I think, you know, consistency in his technique. When he plays good technique, he really is an effective player. Sometimes if he gets lax in his technique, you know, he struggles a little more. So I think that's probably true with every player, you know, in the secondary. But he's done a nice job, and I'm encouraged with his improvement. His maturity helps us. We got such a young group of guys. The fact that he's, you know, played a little more, been involved in college football before, I think that's all something that's really benefited him.
Coach, we'll wrap up the back with Ryan.
Hale mentioned yesterday that that Dan Enos has been, you know, kind of helpful with the tight ends and some of the concepts that he's brought from Arkansas. Can you talk about his ability to get tight ends involved in the passing game? I know he's the quarterback's coach, but some of the concepts that he brought in from Arkansas.
Yeah, I really like Dan. You know, we struggled sometimes when we played against him when he was at Arkansas, and I think what he does a great job with the tight ends is, you know, they're the hardest guys to find sometimes on play action passes and things like that. So, and I think he's a very bright guy, and he's been great soldier in terms of helping develop our quarterbacks and adding some really good concepts to the passing game. So, you know, I'm always for throwing it to the tight ends. You know, we recruit guys that can run, you know, 10, 400 meters and, you know, take the ball, nobody can tackle them, but all you guys in the press, you always want to see the tight end get the ball, so we'll throw it to him and see how fast he can run.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.